strength is slowly building in Bitcoin. RSI does suggest, on a daily chart, RSI does suggest that the strength is increasing and we just broke to the upside. Now we're here waiting for the price to react with that level of resistance. If we actually manage to break higher, say about 27,200, 27,150, that range is going to act as a resistance. But once we manage to break that, it should bring in more momentum into the price action. So if you go back into what we were discussing from last 1 week, we actually saw a level of divergence coming back into the price action, which is interesting because then you look at the dollar, it's slowly creeping up, but most likely it's going to get rejected somewhere here and go down. That means XRP, as well as all the other altcoins in the market, is going to follow what Bitcoin is about to do. While the Bitcoin dominance increase, the money flow into the altcoins should be low. Now, what we are going to look at is how things are evolving and what we are looking forward to, because things are changing, especially the news, the narratives, and the use cases and how people see Ripple as a company and XRP as an asset is changing. With all those happening inside and outside the range, it really becomes interesting to understand the fact that, okay, macro is now playing in the micro. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10 person in crypto. Right now, while we actually look at things, especially the price action, XRP is still slowly trending to the downside on the RSI, and the price action is still below the 21-day moving average. It did give a try to break through that level, but we have not yet managed to do the same. But what's more interesting here is that the weekly chart for Bitcoin does show you the fact that we bounced off. So we detailed about this scenario coming in the price action, and right now it does look really positive to see the fact that 21-day moving average is acting as a resistance on XRP, but here on the Bitcoin it's acting as a support. It just hit that level and bounced off. That's a positive news, and this is on a weekly chart. So if you actually understand that properly, a break here in the weekly kind of gives you the understanding like, okay, the price action is trying to break higher. So once we come into the candlestick chart, we do see the possibility that we are at that range where we can actually break higher. But now we go on to the RSI to understand, okay, are we actually starting a new trend? So for us to see a new trend on a weekly, we should actually see a break of this particular range of resistance. If not, we may still get rejected. This would still just be a continuation pattern to the downside, and that would add momentum to the downside. But right now, while you look at the price action, it does show you like someone is interested in buying this asset close to the 21-day moving average. So now we go look at the 21-day moving average and the price action for XRP. Here, we tried touching that once, but we haven't actually quite reached that level. That's positive, saying whenever the price is dropping, people are trying to buy in to this particular asset. However, while we look at the fact that we just had last 1 week, which was really volatile, the high was like 0.56 and the bottom was 0.45. So that was volatile. And we closed that week in bearish candle. Now, this particular week, as of now, we're just starting it off. We have a long way to go inside this. But if you actually take a look at how things are evolving right now, we should actually put in the fact that, yeah, the price action is showing you it is having a little bit of slowdown for the moment. You'll actually see the divergence forming here on the RSI. So on a short-term narrative, yes, what we just saw in the Bitcoin dominance is working out in the altcoin market. Say you go take an Ether or any other large cap coin in crypto market, altcoin market, you'll actually notice the fact that they are not doing much. They are here at a resistance. They're slow. They're trying to test that resistance. And right now the Ether with the daily candle opening, it does show you like, okay, we are breaking to the upside. So it is showing you the strength is coming back into the market. It is actually positive. However, we are still below a major resistance. So for us to get a confirmation, we should get a break of this range, or at least the 21-day moving average, which would be 1789, say 1790 for Ether on a daily. Now, what's the weekly level like, right? The weekly level is almost close to that same range. So if Ether managed to get above 1790, now that's a confirmation like, okay, on the weekly and on the daily, now the price action is trying to bounce off. But at the same time, we do have to note what Bitcoin dominance is doing. If that's starting to drop back down, it will be positive. Whereas if that's creeping higher, breaking through to the upside, that means it's actually taking a lot of money out from the altcoin side of things, because right now the market cap is still the same, $1.1 trillion. So we're not actually getting a lot of new money into the market. Rather, it's exchanging and rebalancing within the market. So while the Bitcoin dominance is creeping higher, it is draining the liquidity from the altcoin side of things and taking it inside, because that's the largest asset there. So while the market actually looks for certainty, we do have to understand like, okay, this is literally what's happening on the other side of the aisle. We are waiting to see how next candle moves, because if it actually breaks back into the pattern, that kind of gives you a fake out and most likely downside move coming in. And we also notice the fact that what we are observing on the volatility index is it is still dropping. So we need to see that going back up to say, okay, there is something negative on the price action for the stock market jumping in. However, right now, while we jump onto a short-term chart, this Bitcoin on the short-term narrative. On the RSI, you can clearly see a trend formation. You're making higher high, higher low, and then starting to bounce back higher. So short-term charts for Bitcoin especially is showing you there was a pattern. We broke that to the upside. We had a short retest and a bounce off. Right now, if we zoom in on that bounce off, it kind of looks something like this, which is actually positive again. Why? We are watching that the price action is trying to build more momentum. But yes, on the macro, you need to break 27,150 at least to say that someone heavy has entered the market. So that kind of gives you the narrative of what the whales are doing. So now we go back onto XRP and we would like to look at it based on Bitcoin. So XRP Bitcoin right now shows you like, okay, I'm getting rejected one at this particular level, which happens to be the previous resistance turned support resistance. So that's a strong support resistance range on a weekly for XRP Bitcoin. Now, the story is the same compared to what we just saw in the Bitcoin dominance and how we anticipate the altcoins to move. But what we are looking at is when that drop happens, can XRP drop too much, or is it just 3 to 5% drop, which is kind of normal in the market? So here, XRP Bitcoin kind of suggests to you like, okay, it can be a 6 to 7% move to the downside in terms of Bitcoin. But now we go on to XRP USDT to see, okay, if we are actually dropping back lower, what's the support? How low should we actually drop to reach a significant amount of support? So now it kind of is clear that, okay, there is a possibility we may drop 5 to 6% or 7% in Bitcoin terms. That is going to be considered as a buying opportunity in the market. So in price terms, that's somewhere close to 0.46. Now, if we do get a wick to the downside, coming all the way down to 0.44, that again would be considered as a buying the dip moment inside the current market condition. So if you're actually eyeing at different structures in the market and looking forward to see what's happening, because some of these are actually bouncing hard. Not all the coins are showing you the same amount of volume and increase, but you do see random coins getting those movements. So if you're actually eyeing the market as a whole, looking at the market cap and then the volume, you may actually wish to look at this too here. We're actually trying to go through all this individually so that you'll understand what these assets are doing on individual terms. Are they becoming bullish? Are they actually showing more possibilities for correction? That's all being discussed over there. Now, while we are back here in the market, we do understand, okay, the fundamentals, the story, the narrative is turning in. The way we are observing things moving, say especially Digital Pond Foundation comes out giving you the narrative of IMF, is actually giving you a clear thought process of the entire CBDC platforms, domestic platforms. They should interact with each other. That's the global movement. And for that, they need to be on a platform which needs interoperability. And I'm not saying it's just going to be XRP ledger, but there is a huge possibility that it can be on the XRP ledger. Then on the other side, while we look at the SEC issue, then how things are moving along with Do Kwon, it is kind of like, okay, all of them actually, they have screwed crypto. One guy is actually about to pay for that. The other guy is still with the power. So you'll have to see how that moves. But then you look at the fundamentals. MasterCard files trademark application to develop crypto and blockchain software. So this asset class is not going anywhere. All of these guys are putting money, time and brain power into this because they see future and value. So once we understand the fundamentals and the direction of the future, where the volatility will actually slowly reduce, but before that we'll have a price explosion for sure, because once the market actually understands this is the narrative, right now we have like maybe 5% of the world in crypto space. That's going to change maybe up to 25-30%, and that means a lot more trapped in capital, or at least which is right now in the gold, in the stock market and other areas, maybe the fixed stream, can actually be attracted into the crypto world. Now, long story short, yes, things are looking good if you have a little bit longer horizon. And on the short term, Bitcoin observed like this is like, okay, I'm becoming monstrous and I'm hungry for the blood, but we don't have a lot of liquidity coming in, which definitely means there's going to be a lot of different coins which are going to be drained as Bitcoin takes in all of those. So you should be looking for assets which are dropping heavy, but they still do have a ton of fundamentals. So more or less, you're looking for opportunities. So when you see blood in the market, don't just buy every asset. Make sure you're buying an asset which has the fundamentals. So guys, if you received value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.